There are millions of victims and survivors out there who've been inspired by your courage. I am. Bravery is contagious. Indeed, that's the driving force behind the Me Too movement. And you sharing your story is going to have a lasting, positive impact on so many survivors in our country. We owe you a debt of gratitude for that, Doctor. Now, some senators have suggested you were simply mixed up about who assaulted you. An ally of Judge Kavanaugh in the White House even promoted a wild theory about a Kavanaugh lookalike.
This is the most unethical sham since I've been in politics.
A wild theory about a Kavanaugh lookalike. You immediately rejected that theory, as did the innocent man who had been called that lookalike.
What up, guys? John the Morgal here. Going to do a video regarding the new potential Supreme Court Justice, Brett Kavanaugh, and this whole debacle with Christine Blasey Ford. And the big question is, is Christine Ford actually Brett Kavanaugh? And I watched a video by the channel formerly called Mr. E that was shut down in the YouTube purge and is now operating under Transpocolypse now. Great channel. I'll put a link to this video that brought this to my attention because, as many of you guys may know, the first YouTube video I ever put out a long time ago was the Osama bin Laden video, where, at least for one televised appearance, Osama bin Laden was almost certainly played by Barack Obama prior to him becoming president. And it really seems like these elites do these whole role reversals and charade for some reason, whether it's just to confuse people or some weird subliminal in-depth programming, but we're not going to get into all that. We're just going to look at this hypothesis that perhaps FINKLE is indeed Einhorn, or Christine Blasey Ford is potentially Brett Kavanaugh. So, in this first image, really the only thing, these are from the same hearing where Kavanaugh was completely missing during Ford's testimony, and Ford was completely missing during Kavanaugh's testimony about her allegations that he did some naughty things while he was in high school and she was attending the same high school with him. Now, the only thing I had to do to this picture is scale them to size proportionally so they're about the same size, and then tilt Kavanaugh's picture just a few degrees clockwise. And scarily enough, I gotta say, this is almost an exact match. And based on my preliminary investigation, I would say, hands down, it is entirely possible that FINKLE is Einhorn. Kavanaugh is Blasey Ford. Now, you'll notice she is wearing some pretty thick glasses, so pay attention to the line of her face. As it gets behind the lens of her glass, you see some magnification and refraction. So what that means is any area behind this lens is going to be disproportionately magnified. And so with that in mind, it was pretty much impossible to match up their faces perfectly without the eyes being off kilter. Although that is exactly what you would expect when one of the people is wearing no glasses, and then the other instance of the same person is wearing thick bottle-top glasses. So in that respect, it was not possible to match up their eyes, which is usually the best way to get the faces to perfect scale. Assuming that it is the same person, if you can match up the eyes, the rest of the face will fall together very nicely. So in this instance, we didn't have that luxury, and it does appear that because of the angle and these lenses, you do get magnification and then sort of a downward refraction of the light. So everything behind these lenses is magnified and dropped down a little bit. So with that in mind, it does make a lot of sense that their eyes don't match up in these pictures. However, every other portion of their face certainly does. And that goes for their hands and their ears as well. The only real discrepancy I could find was in their teeth, although things can be done to change someone's teeth, especially if they've got false teeth that they can insert and have a couple of different sets of that for their disguise. And this really is a good disguise because Blasey has the thick bottle top glasses, she has the hair covering most of her face, but I gotta tell you, right down to the damn chin dimple and right down to their nostrils lining up precisely, this appears to be one and the same person. So let's look a little closer at this chin dimple that is on both Kavanaugh and Ford's face. Just identical chin dimple there. The nostrils, we'll see if we can zoom in a little more on the nostrils. Line up precisely. And perhaps a little bit of a different angle on the faces, but just look how when you redraw his nose over hers, although there are some differences in the nose because apparently she's got some sort of a prosthetics, if you will. Maybe there's a better term than that, but this is just absolutely uncanny. They do have different facial expressions, so he's got his lips puckered up and she's got hers, or his, more relaxed. In the neck area, you can see that she's got more wrinkles and such than Kavanaugh, but yet again, that can be easily rectified with makeup and these sort of oil prosthetics that makeup artists have been using since, Michael Jackson's Thriller to create zombies out of normal people. But just every inch of this person's face that isn't behind these bottle top glasses just screams doppelganger. Of course, her hair is covering up a lot of these facial features, but every instance of this face is an absolute match. Except, of course, the eyes that are behind these bottle top glasses. But this is just absolutely uncanny. And so, why would they put a potential Supreme Court Justice nominee through this sort of humiliation ritual? And to me, it's clear. It's so that they can control him. If this person is ever elected or verified as a Supreme Court, not elected, but verified as a Supreme Court Justice, if he ever steps outside of what they, whomever they are, want him to do, then he could, it's never going to happen because it would be revealed that he was actually his accuser, Christine Ford. Or at least he played her on TV. Now, during this same hearing, they raised their hands to swear in, and I gotta tell you, this is the same hand. So the one on the left is hers, I believe, or is that his? Maybe that's his. The one on the right is hers. Let me make sure here. No, I was wrong. Okay, so the one on the right's his, the one on the left is hers. Now, starting with the left pinky, just look, I took this pinky and copied and pasted over here. Look at the line of the finger on his and compare that with hers. Now, of course, he's got his fingers spread out, but for crying out loud, these are the same fingers. The same fingers, no doubt about it. Same thumb, same fingers. Even if you start looking closely into the little lines on their hands, they have similar traits. And again, he has his fingers spread out and his hand angled back a bit. Hers is more perpendicular to the ground, and the fingers are tightly clenched together. But I got to tell you, their fingers are identical. Their faces are identical, and you can literally complete her nostrils with his nostrils. What are the odds of that? What are the odds that an accuser and the accused have the identical face? What are the odds that Barack Obama and Osama bin Laden, at least in one picture, had the identical face? So in this image here, I scaled the eyes up independently. without respect to the face. So I match the sizes of the eyes, because again, remember, these eyes are being magnified, and it is yet again uncanny. The eyes are perfect matches. Again, the lighting was a bit different for each, but identical. And on this right eye, their left eye, our right, even features of the eye and the iris appear very similar. So in the overlay, this is Kavanaugh's eye in the overlay that we're looking at here. Very, very similar iris and retina on a face that is structurally identical. Of course, her nose is a bit fatter, and she's got her ears and half of her face covered up with hair and glasses. But other than these minor differences, this is very well could be the same person. One of them in drag, and one of them presenting themselves as a male candidate for Supreme Court Justice. The other thing too to look at real quick is their ears appear to be very similar. Her ear is hidden much by her hair, but what you can see appears that they have identical ears, and the lines of his ear seem to match up with and complete the lines of hers, and vice versa. So I'm not saying this proves that they're the same person, although it certainly doesn't hurt the hypothesis. We will take a look at the teeth, because as I said, this was really the only portion of the face that I could not rectify, couldn't match them up. As you can see, the angle of her teeth, these two front teeth have an angle coming into one another, where his are relatively flat and straight. Her bottom teeth are crooked, while his bottom teeth are straight. And so this is really the only piece of evidence to suggest that it may not be the same person, although if he had his teeth pulled and is able to insert different sets of dentures or false teeth, then that could very easily be rectified. All in all, I would say that there very well may be something to this, and I would not be surprised whatsoever to learn that Brett Kavanaugh is in fact his Me Too accuser, Christine Blasey Ford.